Right. You've got a breeding farm running, you've got cake stacked in the box, and you're trying to breed an Orserk. Stop. You can't. Not, it's a rare combo. Not, you need two specific parents. There is no combination of pals in Palworld that produces an Orserk. The only thing that makes an Orserk is another Orserk. And Orserk isn't alone. I checked every single pal in the game against the breeding table, and 21 of them cannot be bred at all. Worse than that, they're not scattered randomly. They're sitting in one block of the Paldeck, and once you see the pattern, you'll never waste cake on them again. Quick word on where these numbers come from. Because there's a lot of guesswork in Palworld guides right now, and I don't want to add to it. Palworld's breeding is completely deterministic. Two parents always give the same child. That means for any pal you can ask the reverse question. Which parent pairs produce this one? If the only answer that comes back is the pal plus itself, it can't be bred. That's it. That's the whole test. I ran that check against every pal in the game, in both directions, and then had it re-verify itself until nothing new turned up. Not a list I copied from somewhere. Not a handful I spot-checked and assumed the rest. So when I say 21, I mean 21. Here's the part that actually saves you time. Open your Paldeck and look at entries 185 through 203. 19 slots. 18 of those 19 cannot be bred. That's the whole late-game legendary block, and it is almost perfectly sealed off from breeding. Grizzbolt, Lyleen, Orserk, Faleris, Shadowbeak, Selyne, Bastigor, Shaolong, Silvance, Dandilord, Xenolord, Hartalis, Paladius, Necromus, Frostallion, Neptilius, Jetragon, Panthalus. 18 pals, one continuous stretch of the Paldeck, and not one of them will ever come out of an egg. So the rule is simple. If it's in the 185 to 203 range, close the breeding calculator. You are not getting it from a farm. You go and get it yourself or you don't get it. I said 18 of 19. So there's one slot in that block that can be bred. Number 195. Bellanoir. And I want to be really clear about this one because on paper it looks like the loophole. It isn't. Bellanoir has exactly one working combination, and it's Bellanoir plus Bellanoir Libero. Read that again. To breed a Bellanoir, you need a Bellanoir, plus her raid form. So the only breedable pal in the entire legendary block requires you to already own the pal you're trying to breed, and a second one that's harder to get than the first. It's not a shortcut into the block. It's a duplication method for people who've already done the work. Which means, functionally, the whole 185 to 203 range is closed. All 19, the exception exists on the spreadsheet and nowhere else. Now, 21 pals can't be bred, and I've only named 18. So where are the other three? They're much earlier in the Paldeck than you'd expect. 144, 145, 146. Mimog, Xenovader, and Xenogard. 3 in a row, sitting in the middle of the list surrounded by perfectly normal breedable pals, and all 3 are locked. This is the one that catches people out. Nobody's surprised that Jetragon can't be bred. It's Jetragon. But Mimog sits at 144 looking like any other mid-list pal, and people burn a lot of cake before they work out it's never coming. If you've been farming eggs for any of those 3, that's why nothing's hatched. There are 2 more worth mentioning, and they're a slightly different case. Bellanoir Libero and Blazamut Ryu. Neither can be bred either, but neither has its own Paldeck number. They're alternate forms rather than separate entries. That's why I'm not counting them in the 21. If you count entries rather than numbered pals, it's 23. Either way, the practical answer is the same. You will not hatch them. And in Bellanoir Libero's case, that's what makes the Bellanoir combo the dead end I just described. The parent you'd need is itself unbreedable. Let me put a number on why this matters. Breeding in Palworld runs on cake, and cake is not cheap. Flour, milk, eggs, honey, berries, plus the farm time and the pals tied up producing all of it. Every cake you put into a farm hoping for a Jetragon is a cake that doesn't become something you can actually get. And, because breeding is deterministic, you're not fighting bad luck. There's no rare roll you're waiting on. The result was decided before you started. That's the real cost of not knowing this list. Not the cake. The weeks. Okay, enough bad news. Here's the part that's genuinely useful. The tier just below those legendaries is wide open, and some of it is stronger than people realize. Take mining. Everyone breeds toward Astigon, and Astigon is good. Mining level 7. But it isn't the best. The best miner in Palworld 1.0 is Xenogard at mining level 8, and it's the only pal in the entire game that hits level 8 on mining. And unlike everything in that legendary block, Xenogard can be bred. There are over 100 parent combinations that produce it. So the single best mining pal in the game is one you can hatch on a farm, while the pal everyone assumes is the ceiling is one rank below it. Same story elsewhere. Rinjishi tops kindling at level 8. Selyne tops handiwork at level 8. Both breedable. The only work category where the best pal is genuinely locked behind catching is electricity, where Orserk sits at level 8. And Orserk, as we established at the top, is exactly the one you can't breed. Let me give you one concrete route because its breedable isn't much use on its own. Suzaku Aqua. Rarity 9, one of the fastest flyers in the game, watering level 6. It looks like the kind of pal that belongs in the locked block. It isn't. 3 steps. Nightwing plus Ragnahawk gives you Sybylix. Sybylix plus Jormuntide gives you Suzaku. Suzaku plus Jormuntide gives you Suzaku Aqua. That's it. 2 pals most people already have, 1 Jormuntide you reuse twice, and you come out the other side with a Suzaku Aqua. And a Suzaku for free on the way, which is a level 5 kindling worker in its own right. I've checked every step of that chain in both directions, parents to child, and child back to parents. It works. So, 21 pals you can't breed. Paldeck 185 through 2. 03 is effectively sealed, 144 to 146 is locked, and Bellanoir's combo is a trap that needs the pal you're already trying to make. Everything else is fair game, and some of it beats the legendaries at the jobs that actually matter in your base. If this saved you some cake, subscribe. I check every combo against the game's real breeding data before it goes in a video, which is more than I can say for most of the charts floating around right now. I'll put the full list of 21 in the description,